Welcome, Mandeep. I'm very happy to have you here. You are a global thinker and author of The Values Compass, traveled to over 150 countries, and you reveal how values shape our world and can guide our life. And you're a kind global authority with this. And your work offers profound insight into how values can shape cultures and individuals. Welcome here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
There was such a kind of a hate, but equally, being in Britain has meant that I have a British passport. I don't know if I would have worked in over 175 countries if I was somewhere else in the world. Like I have to appreciate the blessings I've been given also.
Yes.
I'm living in London right now, which is one of the most multicultural, cosmopolitan places in the world. Like you can be, if you're Iranian, you can still speak Farsi and eat Persian food. If you're from Japan, there's still a whole cuisine of Japanese cuisine, and you're still able to practice, you know, Sinti. So much is possible here also.
You
So
can't
thank you
imagine
for
that.
recognizing that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing the story as a young girl. Because for others, getting somebody touched you in that way that your nose broke and you're blooding could have made a shy girl out of you who couldn't experience to travel the world, but that you used it to make out of it your life story. This is indeed the great thing. Um, I would like to know how did your parents work with that when you came home with bloating? And of course, they knew that it was not you just falling down. How did they react on that?
I think they found it, on one hand, tough because they felt responsible, and on the other hand, they saw it as a challenge and that I would have to get tougher.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
being a Sikh, we have like this warrior part of our faith and a spiritual part of our faith.
Hmm.
It's called Bidi Bidi. The warrior part of your faith means that you have to. We literally have a martial art built into the faith,
Hmm.
and we practice this martial art called Gatka. And it's about being strong physically and not cowering. Not, I guess, there've been many times where we've had to face the challenges and be in battle. And there are many stories of women and men from our faith being in battle. In fact, we have 10 gurus, and the last guru, all his stories are about being in battle and and doing almost the impossible. And
Hmm.
then the spiritual side, with how the faith began, is about becoming mentally strong and mentally aware, and knowing indeed that there is no difference between you and I and the next person.
Hmm.
And so this sense of rising up, you don't just, you don't cower physically and you don't cower mentally. Like you are just as valid as the next person, but also see the light in them because it's the same light in you. What did that boy realize? He realized that both of our blood was indeed blue, red. Both, that we're both the same. Internally, we're both the same. We all have the same organs. We all have the same blood running through our veins. We all have the same desires and wishes. So I think my faith and my parents just highlighted that really, really helped. But I have to say that when I turned 18, as soon as I was ready to leave for university, my parents also didn't want to stay any longer. So they left Gloucestershire
Oh,
because they very much felt like almost that they had the resilience
yeah.
while their children were young, and as a little family unit, even though there was only five of us, I have two siblings, a brother and a sister.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Still, that's better than just my mother and father alone. And
Yeah.
as soon as I left for university, they left.
Ah, and where did they go? Did they go back to India, or did they move to California for eating mango, enjoying sun?
Well, the mangoes are definitely better in India. The sunshine is nice in California, but actually, my father won the battle. My father said, "Well, you know, let's keep out the European kind of." I think also my father's now second generation. I'm third generation. You also there's a sense of we have given so much to this country and we have taken so much from this country that this is our country. At
Hmm.
what point do you, we're now actually, I speak Punjabi at home.
Yeah.
Punjabi has been spoken for nearly 100 years in Britain. At
Hmm.
what point are we going to say we've built roots here?
Yeah.
If I think about how much my parents have given in taxes, how much they've invested in things, how much
Yeah.
like they've created prizes in the schools that we've been taught at, they've given back so much, they've created so much
Hmm.
that at what point do you see yourself as wanting to not keep running, but to invest, to give? I mean, they're at there now. I believe that life is in quarters.
Yeah.
The beginning quarter of your life, you're learning, you're growing, it's education. The
Hmm.
second quarter of your life, you're being materially active.
Yeah.
You are producing, you are trying to
Hmm.
grow in that way. The third quarter of your life, you're thinking about giving back. My parents did that,
Hmm.
you know, a lot. A lot of Sikhi is about service and seva and giving. But then
Yeah.
the fourth quarter of your life, you're thinking about your exit. Now, if you've spent the first 3 quarters doing that in one place,
Hmm.
then you're not likely to just kind of want to exit somewhere else. It's a bit the same as my grandfather, who had spent his former years in India. He wanted to return to India. But my father had spent his former years in Britain. So
Hmm.
where would he return to?
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
so anyway, they moved to the Midlands. They moved back to that industrial area, to answer your question, but which is much more cosmopolitan.
And that is, of course, great for, of course, also your mother, I guess, right?
Yes, it was a yeah. It's been everything's a compromise, so it's a compromise that's working for them.
I mean, traveling 150 countries doesn't mean, of course, have lived in 150 countries. But if you should say where you feel same bindings or also where you feel home, is there also another country than UK? Is it maybe India or California because of your family where you feel home? And what makes you a place feeling home?
That's a great question. So I have actually spent a lot of time in many of these countries.
Mhm.
I would say that in a bizarre way, I felt very much at home in Iran. I'm often told that I look Persian.
Yeah.
Um, I feel as though I must have Iranian roots. When Punjab was bigger, when Maharaja Ranjit Singh when there was a Punjab empire, it did spread as far as Iran, Afghanistan.
Mhm.
It was huge, and in the treasury in Tehran, 90% of those jewels and artworks I
Mhm.
recognize, like they are purely Punjabi. So there have been
Interesting.
times when I've landed it somewhere and I've thought, wow, this really feels like home. And Isfahan and Shiraz, like that really moved me in a way that I didn't expect, as did the Sufi culture and worshipping.
Mhm.
I definitely feel at home and very, very like alive in a different type of way, but in a very grateful way in India. I
Mhm.
spent a lot of time. As soon as I graduated university and took my first job, I tried to find ways of being able to practice in India and being able to learn more about my roots, so as to speak, my ethnic roots,
Yeah.
or my cultural roots. But I also feel very much at home, honestly speaking. I could I don't think there's anywhere I wouldn't want to live, because I have seen beauty and brilliance everywhere. And I think that's something to do with growing up somewhere so alien
Yes.
that then nothing else actually, alien doesn't feel alien, if you see what I mean.
Yes,
You
I
can see beauty
understand.
even in alien, and there's something really, yeah. I truly become alive whenever ever I'm actually out of England, because I soak everything up, appreciate everything, and I would happily live anywhere.
Thank you. If you would like to share, and I mean, you're a traveler, if you like to share three of your hacks of your daily routine. I mean, you shared with us about your religion, about being a Sikh, which is just more just than a religion, which is a kind of life motto. But are there three hacks you would like to share with us?
This is a great question. Do you ask this to everyone, or is it just
No.
me? Just me. Okay.
Somebody is living only in UK and has a bad daily routine. I know that. I wouldn't ask for her.
Okay. Well, I love the question. So, one of my hacks, if you well, it depends if we're coming from from.
Mhm,
Okay, I was just thinking about people often ask me, how are you able to travel and not feel
mhm,
unwell or not feel jet lag or
mhm,
not feel tired?
mhm,
Um, One of the things is that I really eat the cuisine of the place
mhm,
and try and make it as seasonal as possible and try and make it correct according to the time of day. So,
mhm,
for example, this morning, um, I wanted to clear my gut, have a good amount of fiber, and still feel light. So it was yogurt, kiwis and there are these local kiwis because we're just coming into kind of this like we have this pear, apple, kiwi season,
yeah.
and chia seeds.
Mhm,
If I was in India or if I was wherever I was, like let's say I'm in South Korea, I
mhm,
might drink kombucha or
mhm,
have kimchi
mhm.
or like
Yes.
whatever, or if I'm in Iran or in the Middle East, I might have kefir. So to I guess I think that the more we expose, one hack would be the more we expose our gut to in
Mhm,
moderation, the more we can tolerate. And I think that's the same with our personal selves.
mhm.
So another hack would be I remember a time when I was woken up with someone splashed some cold water on me. And I remember being like, oh gosh, that's an assault or an insult. And then I thought, well, why do I feel that? And what do I need to expose myself to be able to tolerate that too?
Mhm.
So now I expose myself much more to cold and to hot. Often when we go to the hammam or to any baths, there's like a plunge pool next to a heat pool next to it. That same kind of variety, if you can give yourself, your life, that type of variety,
Mhm.
then I think you're in a much stronger place. I'm not one of those people who says, oh, I need to get rid of all those toxic people or all those bad people.
Yeah.
Not at all. No one's toxic. You
Yeah.
just, if you can have, if you're able to be open and think that I'm going to find a way to tolerate anything and everything, then
Yeah.
how much sweeter is life than if you're closed and you're making your inner circle even smaller and smaller and smaller because some people are bad and some people are toxic. So the
That's
life hack would
right.
be to kind of, I've opened myself in every respect and have
Yeah.
found life to be much richer and
Right.
more, yeah, much richer and much more fun as a result. And the other hack would be sleep.
That's good. So that's a great word at the end. So thank you very much.